It's been another tough year for real estate. In fact, 2025 is going to go down as one of the worst years for real estate in the last 30 years. And that's insane when you think about it. Did prices come plummeting down? Did the housing market crash like everybody was saying it was going to? No, it didn't. This isn't 2008. It couldn't be more different. The truth is we've been in a housing recession for like 3.5 years. At the end of 2025, we're going to see that we really only closed about 4 million homes nationwide. In fact, for the last 3 years, we've averaged about 4.5 million homes sold. And this is important because in normal circumstances, we close about 6.5 million homes per year nationwide in the United States. When you think about it, losing 2 million homes a year for 3 years, that's like we lost an entire year of sales. So we're definitely in a housing recession. And we've reached this point where buyers are no longer willing or able to just overpay for your junk house. Houses have to be perfect if they're going to be one of the 4 million homes that sold. And sellers, they're not all willing to do what it takes. Some of them are still living in fantasy land, thinking you can sell a house for top dollar with a hole in the roof. And then others, they're just sitting there with tons of equity, a low interest rate. What pressure is it for them to sell their home? There isn't any. So we've got this kind of Wild West standoff, if you will, where nobody's willing to do anything. And that's part of what's leading to the low sales. But there might be light at the end of the tunnel if you can just hold on. And if you're a real estate professional, you might be sitting here watching this and thinking, man, I'm busting my ass and I'm trying to provide for my family and it sucks. And I'm thinking, I got to go big or go home. And I've been going big and the voices in my head are telling me it might be time to go home. If you're watching and that's you, you've got to reach inside yourself. You've got to dig deep and you've got to start believing that you've got what it takes. Before I was doing real estate, I actually used to be a pretty cool guy. I was a rescue swimmer in the United States Navy, flew in helicopters, door gunner, all of that stuff. But my story, it started at rescue swimmer school. And shout out to this guy, John Herman. If you're watching this, you might know him. But I remember when I was in this program, before you class up, you used to have to go down to the schoolhouse while you're waiting. I was in this for like 5 weeks. I don't even remember what it was called, but you were waiting to class up. But what you were doing was just working out in the pool 2-3 times a day. And so we get in the pool, we get all our gear on, and it's very serious, and you're getting yelled at, and it's hard and all this, but these are tough workouts. And class hasn't even started yet. If you've watched like The Guardian or something, you're not even to that phase. You're just at the like pre-phase. So you are bottom of the barrel scum, right? At the schoolhouse. And I remember doing these workouts and you do 25 yards on the surface and then you go to the other end and it was deep water down there. You had to tread water. So then you're waiting and the instructor's yelling some stuff and saying some stuff to you. 25 yards and then you do 50 yards and then it was 25 yards underwater and then it was, and you're tired, you're out of breath. How am I going to make it? And I remember John on the pool deck and he was like, this is the time. This is your moment. You're out there in the water and people's lives depend on you. Do you have what it takes? And it was just like the most motivating thing I could ever think of. And in no way am I relating real estate at all to what we had to do in the pool. And then eventually, as you're jumping out of the helicopter into rivers and oceans or wherever you're at, the motivation is still the same. You got to reach down inside. This is that moment. This is that moment when I was in the pool and I was out of breath and I was tired and I saw that guy and he's just like barking these orders and saying, do you have what it takes? And if that doesn't get you fired up, then just turn this off right now because you and me aren't the right fit. But if you're still watching, I'm not a guru. I'm not trying to sell you some stuff. I'm not a coach. I'm nothing like that. But what I am is I'm a guy out here who's literally busting my ass, trying to provide for my family. And it's hard for me. Right now, I'm putting steps in place to prepare to have a great 2026. And I'm just going to share those steps with you. Let's dive in. Every year, I like to start off with a word of the year. And this year, my word was simplify. And believe it or not, it took me 3 quarters. It took the whole year just kind of evaluating what plays were we running, what were we doing, what worked, what didn't work, and kind of tweaking and making changes. But I was trying to simplify my life. In fact, on my bathroom mirror, I wrote simplify at the top. So every morning when I get out of my shower and I towel off and I'm standing there, I look at that and I think, simplify. Just keep your day simple. What can I do? How can I do less to earn more? How can I do less to be more productive? There's a lot of things that are thrown at us as real estate agents. Buy this program, sign up for this, subscribe for this, get this coaching program, join this brokerage. We've got all the training you need. And it all comes at you. But at the end of the day, like, keep it simple. So that was my mission this year. And I think I've done a pretty good job. We're going to get into it here in a little bit, the steps I did. Aside from that, I came up with my word for next year: operate. So I've done what I need to do to simplify my business. And now I just need to operate. I need to go into 2026. I'm not going to add any programs. I'm not going to change anything up. I'm just going to operate on the plan that I have. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, let's start operating right now. Why wait for New Year's Eve? Why wait till the end of the year? I'm going to start right now. It's right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. I'm going to start operating. I've gone through these steps I'm about to share with you. I'm going to put the plan in place and I'm going to operate. Step number 1 is watching the film. You watch football, right? You go in every Sunday, you're watching your team, and these guys are getting battered and bruised, and they're just wrecking their bodies. Do they get Monday off? Nah, they don't get Monday off. What do they do on Monday? They show back up at the training facility. They come into those team rooms, and they start watching film. They start watching yesterday's game. What did I do good? What did I fail at? What caused us to win? What caused us to lose? Okay, so they're watching film. You've got to do the same thing in your real estate business. You got to look at 2025. What plays did I run that were working? What plays did I run that didn't work? Where was I spending too much money? Where was I not spending enough? What was working that I didn't put money into and I should have? Or what had a better ROI or a better ROTI, return on time invested? The first one is your lead gen system. What are you doing for a lead gen? Are you running a strong system? You should have 2 to 3 primary lead gen sources and another 2 or 3 secondary lead gen sources. For me, I like to do geo farming. And it kind of cracks me up because geo farming really is just marketing that any other business runs, whether that's a lawn care business, the guy who builds closets, the restaurant down the street. It's just marketing. If you told them I do geo farming, they're like, what are you talking about? I don't really know why we call it geo farming in real estate. And a lot of people don't do it. So basically, a lot of people just aren't doing marketing. But basically, a geo farming campaign is like, hey, this is my target market. These are the audience I want to advertise to. I'm going to send print mail. I'm going to run YouTube ads. I'm going to run Facebook ads. I'm going to be physically visible and active in the community. I'm going to take listings. And when I take listings there, I am going to just blow the doors off of the place. That's just basically marketing that I think any agent should do. So put that at the top of your list. And then aside from there, I do social media, obviously content like this, content not just for agents, but content for the consumer, whether that's podcasts, YouTube. And then I'm using systems and tools to get that content out there and get it scheduled and save my time. So I have more time with clients, more time to do the work. And then I also am very strong in my past client business, SOI or sphere of influence referrals. Those are my 3 things. So I'm putting the most amount of energy in that. So as I look at those, what did I run that worked and what didn't I work? Maybe the print mail in the marketing aspect. If I kind of A/B tested, I'm going to put a certain back on the postcard for 2 months, and then I'm going to change the backup. Did I get more people to register on my website with one than the other? I don't know. Those are the things I got to look at when I'm watching the film. The next thing I definitely need to look at is my follow-up system. How's my follow-up system doing? Am I doing it? Am I calling people back that leave me messages? Am I calling those leads? Am I putting them on some sort of campaign? Have I got into my follow-up boss or whatever CRM I use? And am I plugging in systems that is going to reach out to them that are personable? Or was I trying to outsource that to someone overseas that doesn't speak English and is calling and is very impersonal and it's very cold? And so did I lose business because of that? And the last thing, probably the most important, save the best for last, but probably the most important thing, what is going on with your finances and your budget? What'd you sign up for? What conference did you go to? And when you went out in the hallway and they had all the booths, what gimmicks did you sign up for? for thousands of dollars. It was just a waste. Also, what ads did you run? What did you run on Facebook that, wow, this ad got me a whole lot of business and this one didn't. So you just need to watch the film. That's the first thing. Don't even think about anything else. Just you're making a scorecard on your business. You're looking at your lead gen system, your follow-up system, and then you're going to look at your budget last. Now you need to go in and you need to cut the waste. You need to look at your lead gen and follow-up system. Those virtual assistants, those AI assistants that leave your clients feeling cold and empty and like you don't actually care about them, get rid of them. That lead gen system that you bought all those leads from for $15 a click, old people that just are mad that you called them and said, hey, I never called you, get rid of them. Stop wasting money on that stuff. And also, here's one you probably didn't think about. What relationships did you have this year that really just weren't cutting it? Who was saying, hey, let's get drinks at 10 a.m. every Tuesday? Who was dragging you to networking events that you knew weren't really worth anything, but you were going out doing fake work, pretending, telling to yourself, lying to yourself that it was work? What about those relationships? Cut them loose. Just make the cuts and look at your budget. Go down that list. Where's the financial waste? Everything you wasted money on. Don't even think about it. And listen, we're doing this in our own life. And some of it's really hard. When you talk about relationships, sometimes there's good relationships. Sometimes it's really good. Personally, in our household, we had someone working for us that we absolutely loved. I mean, just absolutely loved them. But business is down for everybody. And when business is down, you got to shrink and you've got to make cuts. You've got to let some people go. Even if those are great people, you just can't do it. You just can't drive yourself out of business for someone else. You've got to put your business first if you want to put your family first and you want to provide and you want to actually live the life that you deserve to live. Next thing you need to do is get ready for battle. You got to get your battle plan ready. And I know that seems kind of crazy to compare real estate to battle. And I've talked about the military here a couple times. So listen, that's my background, so I can't help it. You know, when we would go get ready to go into battle, when we would go on deployment, we didn't just leave on deployment. We spent about a year doing what we call workups. So before we would ever step foot on the carrier, we would go out and we would go to the Bahamas where we would do some training and some operations. Then we come back home. Then we go out to Fallon, Nevada. Then we come back home. I flew up to Virginia a couple times, doing all these kind of little missions, week at a time, month at a time. And then we'd start going to sea. Then we went to the carrier for the first time, but we just sat off the coast of Florida for like a month, come back home, go out. We did that 2 or 3 times. Those are called your workups. You're practicing, you're training, everything you can think of, emergency plans. Then you get ready and you go on deployment. But does it stop there? No, that's the macro. Now you break it down into micro. Every mission we went on, every flight we went on, we went over our standard operating procedures, and then we even talked about our backup procedures and our emergency procedures, and that was on top of the mission brief. You've got to do the same thing in your real estate life. You can't just be out here winging it. You've got to get a plan together, and you've got to get a secondary plan and an emergency plan for when things change. And believe it or not, you've got enemies. The number one enemy you have today is the headlines. All the news that's out there that's negative. It gets in your buyers and sellers and clients' heads. The next one is other real estate agents. My goodness, are there an amount of amateur realtors out here who are just horrible and disgrace our community. Most of the time what happens is somebody goes out, buyer or seller, unfortunately, and they want a great deal. They want a discount. So who do they hire? The discount agent. Then they get discount service, amateur service, horrible experience. And then what happens? They blame it on you. Next time they bring you over to the house. Oh, we had a horrible experience. Agents are stupid. They post it all over Facebook. The echo chamber goes crazy. Oh gosh, foaming at the mouth. That's your enemy. Then you got haters. But the haters are going to hate. They're always going to be there. The Department of Justice last year was just all over realtors, calling us the gatekeepers and we're the reason price is so high. Never mind the fact that in 3 years, they printed 80% of the money supply in circulation. We're talking $15 trillion that they printed and created massive inflation. But sure, then they blamed us. It's our fault that prices are so high. Okay, whatever. This one's going to hurt. This one is somebody you don't really think of an enemy, but this is your friends and family. This is your loved ones. This is your wife. This is your friend that's in your ear saying, man, it's kind of tough right now. Have you ever thought about getting a real job. So I told you the story about how we would go in the Navy and how we prepare for anything and everything. And you've got to do the same thing in your own life. You've got to prepare. So when it comes to those headlines, the only thing you can do there is you've got to be in the data. You've got to be in the charts. You've got to be in the information. And you've got to be learning this stuff so that when you sit down with people at their dinner table and they're concerned, you're able to show them actual facts and data and kind of ease those concerns. And then you guide them to making, whatever decision is best for them. You just kind of are presenting the information you're putting on display. You're knowledgeable. You're able to kind of answer their questions so that they can make informed, comfortable decisions that affect their wallet. That's the most important thing. Haters are going to hate. We know that. So you just got to put the blinders on. And then when it comes to your friends and family, the ones closest to you, you've got to talk to them. You've got to open up to them. You've got to let them know like, hey, we're in it to win it. And this is it. And I really need your support. If I'm going to do it, I can do it. But I need your support if you're going to be here. Another part of that is your brokerage. What brokerage are you at? Is your brokerage really going to help you reach your full potential? Now, I'm not saying go hop from brokerage to brokerage. I call them church hoppers because I grew up in church. My dad was a pastor, and there were these people that every 2 years they change churches. And what happens is they show up, and they've got all these complaints about the pastor over there or the worship leader there. They talk to my dad, and then they love my dad. And my dad would come home, and he'd say, yeah, I've got about 2 years before they hate me too. Sure enough, I saw it happen over and over and over again. We call them church hoppers. I see the same thing in the real estate brokerage. I see people changing brokerages, exciting, all over Facebook. Exciting news. I just changed brokerages. So I'm not saying to do that, but what I am saying is when the market is slow, when business is down, that's an easier time to change brokerage. I've changed brokerage before, only once. Because I knew I wanted to change brokerages, and it took me 2 years to make that decision because I didn't want to be the church hopper, the brokerage hopper. I didn't want to just try this place and try this place. I knew I needed something different, but I didn't know where. And so I had a lot of interviews, a lot of lunches, a lot of coffees with different brokers, and even thought about starting our own brokerage before we partnered at Someday Homes. And it was tough because when you're carrying a bunch of listings, when you're carrying clients, you've got to kind of sell them, resell them on the idea that like, hey, I'm leaving brokerage A and going to brokerage B, but don't worry, nothing's going to change. Well, why are you changing then? What's going on? I did have some people that got kind of mad about it, but whatever. At the end of the day, I had to do what I had to do, and my life's been better since. Now, where the market's slow, you're in quarter 4, you're getting ready for 2026, might be the time of year where you start saying, if I could get that switch done now before the year starts, then I can just operate in 2026 without having this stuff in the back of my head, without having these worries. That's another relationship you need to look at seriously. It is time to operate. And like I was saying earlier, why wait till 2026 to start? Start today. Take the next week and a half. Go through those first 3 steps. Evaluate your business. And then basically you got 6 weeks left till the end of the year. And this is where you start operating. I'm putting my plan in place and I'm going to operate and I'm going to tweak it a little bit till it's perfect. And then I'm going to start in 2026 full speed ahead operating. And yes, you need to take some time to rest during the holidays, but don't let the holidays become the holla months. You know what I'm talking about. Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the parties, all the family events, all the traveling, and you don't have a boss. You're your own boss. It's very easy to say, there's nothing to do. You're heading to hunting camp, deer camp, whatever it is. I know it's time. Celebrate the holidays, but not the holla months. You've got plenty of time, 6 weeks to start operating. If you're an agent in Northeast Florida and you're thinking, man, I might really need to switch brokerages if I'm going to reach my full potential, then I'd encourage you to look into Someday Homes Realty and Construction. We're a unique boutique brokerage. We're at Jax Beach, but we sell all over. In the last 5 years, we sold over $100 million in sales. We're building 8 to 10 homes, luxury homes at the beaches every year. We've got no gimmicks, no fluff, just quality culture, quality support. And we're unique enough in the fact that we do the construction that if you're an agent that doesn't want to be on that sales hamster wheel forever and you really want to be surrounded by those investing and really kind of learn more about real estate than just sales, we've got all that. In my opinion, it's the best culture in Northeast Florida. If you're thinking about it, just thinking about it, head to rigsgroupfl.com. Up in the top right, you'll find a section about us. Join our team. If you fill that card out, I'll get in touch with you and we'll take it from there. Maybe we're the right fit. Maybe we're not.